what would
Sure.
this scenario look like where Bitcoin is attacked? I mean, I guess choose whichever vulnerability you think is most probable. And then could that actually lead to Bitcoin failing and a new coin succeeding, or is there the possibility, because a lot of what I've studied is that the UTXO set itself could be ported into, Bitcoin 2.0 or something, if you will, if there's some kind of catastrophic failure.
Yes. So I've written about that, right? So yeah.
How would that play out? I've probably read your work, actually. I didn't know that, but you read a lot of stuff, you forget who wrote it. But
sure.
If you could just walk us through that scenario, I think that'd be great.
Yeah. So basically, so first, let me go through the second part first, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the thing that I think is very difficult to attack is the blockchain as opposed to the protocol, right? Mm-hmm. That is to say, because of the nature of how Bitcoin was done or Bitcoin works, the blockchain may be the most replicated database in the world at this point. Okay. Mm-hmm. You have it on some laptop. I have it on multiple computers. Like millions and millions of people have a copy of the Bitcoin blockchain.
Everywhere and nowhere.
And due to the way, go ahead.
It's everywhere and nowhere.
Yeah. And due to the fact of the way that it's constructed, you can't mess with a single byte without it being detected. Okay. Mm-hmm. I mean, you might be a block or two off, but we can verify, we can locally validate. Mm-hmm. So because of that, that is the history of an economy back to T = 0. Okay. Mm-hmm. That is every single debit and credit down to the Satoshi for 12 years of the Bitcoin economy. Yeah. And so that ledger can be imported into another chain. The example that I've given in the past is, let's say that, some, surveillance technology is deployed. Okay. Bitcoin does not have on-chain privacy, or it does. Okay. There's confidential transactions and stuff like that, but it's not ideal. It's not something which is idiot proof on-chain privacy. Let me put it like that. Okay. Mm-hmm. Something like, Monero, or in my view, even better, like Zcash or some of the new stuff like Tornado Cash and, Beanstalk and whatnot. Right. Like I've invested in a lot of these zero knowledge things. Okay. But basically those are theoretical, those are theoretically strong guarantees against surveillance. Mm-hmm. Okay. Because with Zcash, it's not really about the privacy, the private transaction alone. It's about the privacy set. Everybody who does a private transaction and puts their money into the Z addresses, that's a large and growing set of basically transactions where you can't, no external surveillance thing can determine who was sending to who. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's possible, for example, that in 2027 or something or whatever, that Zcash, by consensus in the community, pauses, freezes, and imports the Bitcoin blockchain in such a way that everybody who's got a Bitcoin private key gets, the equivalent amount of ZEC. Okay. And I think that in the event of an attack on Bitcoin, being able to import the Bitcoin blockchain into these other chains in this way, it'd almost be like this gigantic stock split, to go back to the religious analogy, a Tower of Babel moment. Okay. Where you lean on the decentralization, where you get basically a piece in like 50 or 100 or whatever other chains that can import the entire Bitcoin blockchain. Okay. And essentially, if you've got a private key, then you can move funds on that chain. Now, what that would do to the market cap is very much TBD. It's extremely difficult to predict what happens with any coin market caps of any kind. But for every, let's say Bitcoin is at 100,000 when that happened, the sum total of all of these other coin, values might be 40,000 or something like that. I can't predict, but it'd probably be less at least at the beginning, but it'd be something like that. So it'd be a huge pain in the ass. There'd probably be wallets that would arise. There'd be meta wallets that manage to try to manage all of this. But in the same way that you have USDC, which is a stable coin, USDC that's loaded on Ethereum and USDC that's loaded on Solana and so on, you'd have BTC on these other chains. Okay. Now, the reason I think this is more and more possible is because of wrap BTC and whatnot. I'm not actually that concerned about Bitcoin scaling anymore, because you can obviously do off-chain Bitcoin transactions, load Bitcoin onto an exchange, and then within Coinbase or Binance or something like that, you can do off-chain transactions between people. But you can also do like wrapped Bitcoin, okay, or trustless wrapped Bitcoin, like Ren BTC or things like that, okay. Mm-hmm. And there's a website called wrappedbitcoin.com. And this, frankly, I mean, look, nothing against Lightning. It's got decent traction now, actually. But this is something which is also being used alongside Lightning, and that at least appears to have very high transaction volume on chain. And certainly I know a lot of folks who are using it, okay. So the point being that you would say load 100 million or a billion with one on-chain transaction into another blockchain, and then you'd use things that represent BTC on that chain, and then you'd bring it back. Okay, and so that's like chain interoperability and so on. Very, very much like loading BTC into an exchange, like Coinbase or Binance, and pulling it out when you wanted. You'd load it onto another chain and then pull it out when you wanted. Okay, this is already happening. We are already seeing this. Okay, so that mechanism could potentially be used to not just load some, but all, or a very large amount of BTC into other chains. Okay? So chain interop gives us the possibility of a digital Dunkirk. Okay, in the event of a true emergency, the Bitcoin ledger won't disappear.